Communication, a deeper look. I really love this topic. In my mind, something that once you understand it has a great ability to take your communication to a deeper level. So let's dive in and have a look at what is communication, a deeper look. NLP, communication, neuro-linguistic programming. So NLP is a whole suite of understanding neuro, the science of the mind, linguistic, obviously communication styles, and programming. So when we speak, we actually use our own words, and these are internal and external words. So it's really important that you understand the difference. So when you think about your words, are they visual, auditory, kinesthetic, audio, digital? So what are you? We have a simple assessment here that you can just click on, print out and do, because it's good that you understand what you are, because if you're a visual person, you communicate visually. If you're an auditory person, you're communicating through sound, words, and kinesthetics, feeling. So they're through your feeling words. And audio digital is around your processing. So when you listen to someone, they have their own communication style. So this is how they communicate, this is how they learn, and this is how you can really connect with them on a deeper level. And if you've got great rapport, and we've all had that situation where we've met someone and straight away we connect, straight away we feel like we're on the same wavelength. What does that mean? Well, that means that you're using very similar communication styles. So when you have a team, or you're working with people, or in a sales context, marketing, whatever it may be, understanding NLP communication styles, the VAKAD as we call it, is really important. Let's have a look at the eye patterns, because this is really interesting. When you listen to the words and you think a seeing person, so they're using seeing words. And what does that mean? Well, they're using words that make them look up. So their eyes would look up, and they're saying, big picture, clear as a bell. I love the way that looks. I can see the direction. They're using words like that. I'm very visual, and I use a lot of visual words. So when people connect with me, they tend to be a visual person. When you have an auditory person, they use sounding words. So their sounding words come from your ears naturally. So your eyes will drift to your ears because you like the sound of my voice, you love the sound of the song, you like to sing along with things, you like the sound of my voices coming through loud and clear. You sort of get what I'm trying to say. Now, if you're a kinesthetic person, that's a feeling person. So that's someone that really feels the way things are going to happen. So they like those deeper words, connection, togetherness, they're often very cuddly sort of people because they like that kinesthetic feeling, So listen to those words. And there's also a handout there with a group of words on it, so you can listen for those words. Now, the fourth one is audio digital, which is processing. So I always say to people, listen for seeing, hearing, feeling, and processing words, because that will help you understand the communication style of the person. So a processing person, they like the detail, they like the step by step, they like to know that they're going to start here and finish there. They really will take time. And often when you communicating with them, you look at their eyes and they'll often look down to feel, but then they'll look up and they'll actually think out their sentence. So I'm sure you've had this experience where you've been talking to someone and they just have that little pause before they speak. That is often a cue that they're a processing person, an audio digital person. All right, so I've got up here construct versus remembered. So we're looking at a right-hand person here, and on the left-hand side is remembered, and on the right-hand side is construct. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, to remember something, if I ask you a question, you have to remember it if it's a past-based question. So what did you do last weekend? What's the color of your car? What did you look like 20 years ago? So they're remembered-based questions. Now, if I ask what would you like to look like in 10 years' time, that's a construct question. So that's a future-based question. So when you talk to someone, and use this for the power of good, not evil, because you can tell when people are lying to you. Okay, because if they're constructing things continuously, then they're making them up. Okay, because they're thinking about what they want to say or what they want to tell you. So it's understanding that. And that's why the police, ASIO, FBI, marketing companies, salespeople love to use the VAK process, because when you watch the eyes and listen to the words, you can really understand how someone's thinking, communicating, and you can really communicate to their style. So it's simple, but it's really powerful. Now, about 70% of the time, you'll get it right with the eye movement. I really recommend you start with your loved ones, okay? Start with your partner or your kids or friends, and just have a look at their eyes, listen to their words, and really try and understand what it is they use as their communication style. And here's the tip. If they start to nod their head and you start to see that they're really engaging in the conversation, you can understand that you're using the right words. So you test the visual, the hearing, the feeling, and the processing words. Okay? Now, this is based on a right-hand person. If it's a left-hand person, you just ask a few remembered and construct questions, because they might actually remember to the right and they might construct to the left. So that's, once again, just asking a few future-based questions I find are better, because they'll tend to look and pause to the right-hand side if they're to the left-hand side if they're a left-hand person, because they're trying to construct. So I know that might say, okay, that's a lot to take in, but just start out slow. There's lots of information on this. I'd certainly encourage you to have a quick look at Google and get an understanding of it. But I've got a handout here that you've done an assessment which will help you. But listen to the words people are saying, because if you are present, you will get so much more engagement out of them and in the relationship. So unlock the subconscious mind. Think of the unconscious mind as a 7 to 8 year old child. All right, and that's a great way to look at it, because imagination is more important than knowledge. Albert Einstein said that. Why? Because we create images in our minds. We create things from feelings. Like, the subconscious really doesn't understand numbers, but it understands what it means to do something. So, is the glass half full or half empty? The grass is always greener. Every cloud has a silver lining. It went down like a lead balloon. You would have heard a lot of these comments, and you understand that you can really empathize and understand when someone makes a comment. And the most powerful word for me is imagine. Okay, imagine if you could do this. Imagine what it would be like. Imagine if we could get to here. These processes help you really engage people at a deeper level. Great for leadership, great for your team. So think about it from tapping into the resources that you want. Having worked with a lot of different people, having coached a lot of different people, the one thing I understand, people have within them all the resources they need to achieve whatever they want. And I truly believe that, because if you can tap into what people truly believe, then you can understand where they want to go and why they want to get there. So we have this reality in life, in workplace, in business. Okay, we have above the surface. So you've got the environment you're in, whether it be a workplace environment, home environment, sporting environment, what you say and what you do. So that's what people see, that's what people hear. And below the surface is where the true, essence of what someone's about belongs. Because in the environment and the behavior, you're listening, you're watching the behavior, and you can't really understand why they're behaving like that sometimes. And I'm sure you've been in that situation yourself. So we need to tap into their capabilities, their beliefs, their values. And to me, it's always about their beliefs, because if you communicate to a behavior, you'll never change it. But if you communicate to a belief, there is a chance you'll change a behavior. And Henry Ford said it, and I love the quote, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. So try and tap into what their beliefs are, because that will change their behavior. And you also, through great questions and through great conversation, you can identify, well, what's their purpose? What's their mission? How do they identify as a human being? Spiritually, what sort of beliefs do they have? Everyone's different. Every human, there's 7 billion of us on the planet. We are all individuals. So through communication is true greatness in connection. How to win friends and influence people. I love these 16 points because I think it's really important. You'll be remembered at the end of your days for how you made people feel. You'll never be remembered for the amount of money or the cars or whatever you had. Yes, there are certain elements of society that will, but really it's how you make people feel. So I love the 16. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. 2, give honest, sincere appreciation. 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Okay, and I always love that. Get them excited about what they're doing. Become genuinely interested in other people. And I always look to the curiosity mantra that I have. I'm always curious as to what drives someone. Smile. It takes less to smile than frown. So people will respond to you, and we all have. We are drawn to happy people. We pull ourselves away from unhappy people. Remember, a person's name is the most important sound to them. When you meet someone, I always say, try and use their name 3, 4, 5 times in the first 5 minutes, because then you'll always remember it, and connect it to a visual cue is often a good way to learn how to remember someone. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Most people love to do it, and some people love to do it more than others, but it is an easy way to relax someone, to get them to talk about themselves. Talk in terms of the other person's interests, so find out what they're interested in, talk about their interests, make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. Don't piss in their pocket, for lack of a better term, but just be genuine in what you're saying, but make them feel important. Number 10, the only way to get the best out of an argument is to avoid it. And I love, I think it was Aristotle said it, it's very hard to be angry with the right person for the right amount of reasons, at the right level, and for the right period of time, because what is resolved in anger? Very little. So avoid an argument. Arguments generally don't solve any problems. 11, show respect for the other person's opinion. And I think that's really important, because it's their opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. 12, if you are wrong, admit it quickly and empathetically. I think that's a great point, because end of the day, there's no one who's perfect, okay? And it's a funny saying, but I think when you think about it, 2,000 years ago there was a man called Jesus, and he was pretty perfect. And what happened to him? Okay, so you've got to admit that you're wrong. 13, get the other person saying yes. I love this. The more they say yes, the more they're in agreement, the more you build that rapport. Let the other person feel that the idea is their own. Okay, the greatest gift, I think, as a leader and a manager, is to create great ideas, but to bring everybody on it, and bring everyone into the throes of, this is a great idea, yeah, I'm on board, and believe that it's almost like their idea. 15, throwing down a challenge. Well, throw down some challenges to your team, and throw down some challenges to your employees. Get them to really challenge themselves. And 16, you can't beat it, always be honest. Okay, so I think this is just a simple wrap up of great communication, building great rapport, connecting with people on a whole new level, and just some simple techniques to really be the best business person, leader, team player, human being that you can. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. You got any questions or comments, please put them in the inbox. Happy for feedback, and happy to add anything that you feel is necessary around this video. All right. Look forward to chatting to you on the next video. Cheers.